Welcome back to Dubai, a place where history, culture, innovation and development are embraced in equal measure. On the exterior, the world's biggest man-made island and the world's second tallest hotel. But look deeper and you'll also find thousands of years of tradition and heritage. For 1,000 years this area was sustained by fishing and pearl diving, and the skills of those early settlers has never been forgotten, even amidst the ultra-modern cityscape of present-day Dubai. The craftsmanship of those early sailors, fishermen and pearl divers has been passed from generation to generation, and to this day dhows, the small sailboats used centuries ago for trade across the Gulf, are built to traditional specification by hand.
Since old times we have the camel racing and they have the falcon and we have the dhows. If you concentrate in each one, there is a sea, there is a land and there is a sky, and that's unique. And this is the country that holds these three together, and you see lots of falcons in the desert and you see lots of camel races here and you see dhow races now here. So we have the dhow racing as a heritage, as dhows, you know. In Dubai there is a something that you cannot see in any place in the world.
And so in the shadow of the brand new Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building at over half a mile high, stark contrast as the Sea Dubai Festival continued with a race for traditional dhows. A magnificent sight as over 100 dhows lined up for the start, but the sheer size of the fleet, coupled with blustery conditions, left race director Sid Ben Salah calling on all his experience to get the race smoothly underway. This he did, and so from the committee boat, Saeed Harib was quickly able to signal that the race was now underway. And it was a magnificent sight as a sea of billowing white sails pulled away from the coast and began to head towards the outer ring of the world islands. Some boats went far out to sea looking for wind and clean air as the early promise of a strong wind began to wane, while others hugged the breakwater, making it impossible to see who was in the lead. Each crew purely concentrating on their own strategy, constantly assessing and reassessing the course and the fickle conditions throughout the 2-hour race. Even as the teams made their approach towards the finish line, it was difficult to predict the winner, given that the boats were descending from all directions. There were even a few scuffles, most notably when, after running neck and neck, Seda covered Makassas and pushed into the breakwater, only for the pair of them to head into a near collision with a third boat, Rad. That sent crew members from Seda overboard, the incident ending their hopes of a top place, as well as the winning streak of Makassas, who have been dominating the 43-foot dhow races of late. Thankfully the crew members were unharmed and even refreshed by the warm waters of the Gulf. Such was the level of competition that only as the race entered its very final stages did it become apparent that the experienced crew of boat number 12, Atlas, was in a position to take the victory. Behind them a close race for second between the number 33 dhow of Barak and the 80 sail of Tufan. And so the checkered flag fell as Atlas crossed the finish line. Skipper Ahmed Rashid Al Sawaidi and his crew, amongst whom was Victory Team Class 1 powerboat racer Mohammed Al Mahari, taking a memorable victory at the Sea Dubai Water Sports Festival, in a race which was run as part of the 38th UAE National Day celebrations. A day to remember for everyone involved in this most traditional of sports. Underlining the incredible diversity of the festival, the UAE's fittest lifeguards gathered on Jumeirah Beach Residence Public Beach to do battle with the deep blue sea and to compete for the title of UAE National Lifeguard Champions. The event comprised 16 teams of 4, each representing the UAE's various water parks, resorts, hotels and other lifeguarded properties. While the event focused on the physical fitness of the entrants, it was also an opportunity to highlight the importance of water safety to the public, as well as recognising the hard work and commitment of the region's lifeguards. Although it was making its debut at Sea Dubai, this was actually the 4th annual Lifeguard Championships, and fittingly it proved to be the most competitive so far. The top 5 teams all within a couple of points of each other as they headed into the final few events. In the end, Wild Wadi edged out the Meridian Mina Siahi, while the team from Shangri-La Abu Dhabi made up the final podium position. Next up, we take a look at the Dubai Shamal, the world's richest surf ski race.
The Dubai Shamal is a race that's now in its 4th evolution. It started quite low-key. It's got 2 headers now. It's a melting pot of the best paddlers in the world. So we've got flatwater paddlers up against surf ski paddlers, up against Olympic champions versus surf ski champions versus marathon champs versus Joe Blogs, and that's what the race is about.
With a prize purse of $60,000, the race attracted 138 entries, including multiple K1 world champion Manolo Busto and defending Dubai Shamal champion Tim Jacobs, who gave us more insight into the event.
Well, the Shamal is actually the desert wind that comes across the Gulf and blows, like, it basically turns the sky black. So hopefully, I don't know if we won't need it that strong, otherwise we won't be able to see where we're going. But yeah, it's the biggest race of the year. It's the richest prize purse for the year, and also attracts the biggest competitors and the best competitors from around the world, both flat water paddling and also surf ski paddling.
Also back to defend her title was last year's women's champion, Michelle Ere.
Last year I'd just come off the end of the Olympic Games, so I was a bit tired and I hadn't really put in that much training. So it was a bit of a surprise, but got a lot of friends here, so I love coming back to see them. And of course the race is very well organised, and you know, there's always good competition here, so it's definitely one to come to.
This event carries the name of Shamal, which is the strong wind coming from northwesterly, and I can tell you that today the Shamal is here. Whoever is not sure physically and technically to paddle and ride in these conditions, it's better they have to pull out.
Stark warning there from event director Sid Ben Sala of the incredibly tough challenge that lay ahead for these endurance paddlers, the vast majority of whom elected to take the start. 124 boats left the sands of Jebel Ali Palm Island and kicked off the latest event on the Sea Dubai schedule. After an hour of paddling in the open sea, the top 3 were separated by a matter of seconds. The 29 ski of reigning champion Tim Jacobs in 3rd, with South Africans Matt Bowman in 2nd and Darwin Mock in the lead. Cue a dramatic end to the race as Jacobs burst into 2nd place with just over a kilometre to go. The Australian then digging deep to shift up another gear and go charging past long-time leader Mock as the pair rounded the breakwater into the harbour. A fantastic performance from Jacobs, who still had enough energy to smile as he headed towards the finish line in a time of 74 minutes and 42 seconds. The top 3 covered in the end by just 13 seconds.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, another dominant display for Michelle Ire in the women's race. Her 8th win from 8 starts this season. She finished 2.5 minutes clear of Jasmine Kelly. Into the final event of this year's festival, as the world's fastest powerboat racing championships roared into town for the Class 1 Dubai Duty Free and Emirates Grand Prix. Sea Dubai marked the 6th and final round of the World Championship, and it seemed that an Emirates team would be picking up the title. The Victory 1 boat of Jean-Marc Sanchez and Mohamed Al Maheri arrived with just an 8-point deficit to championship leaders Fazza. Another victory-ranked UAE boat, raced by defending champions Nadir bin Hendi and Arif Al Savi. Ahead of the weekend's 2 scheduled races, the boats took to the water for time qualifying, which would determine who started on pole position for the opening encounter. The all-Norwegian crew of Wellmax were sitting 3rd in the championship, and they also clocked the 3rd fastest time qualifying, the recorded lap of 2 minutes and 48 seconds. But they were outdone by Victory 1, having already secured 2 Grand Prix wins and the European Championship. Al Maheri and Sanchez went over a second quicker than the Norwegians to qualify in 2nd. But nobody could match the speed of Fazza, as bin Hendi and Al Zafin went 1.5 seconds quicker than their rivals, their 4th pole of the year, and with that they sealed the EDOX pole position championship. That ensured the top 3 would start in championship order, and qualifying just behind them in 4th was the new pairing of Giorgio Minuzzi and ex-CAP world champion Giovanni Carpitella in the new Sea Dubai team boat.
It's a great help from Mr. Said Arab. He decided to help our team for the last 2 races, Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and I hope maybe for the future. He is very happy for the result in Abu Dhabi. I want to make happy also for these last 2 races, and then we see for the next season.
And so the scene was set for the final round of the Class 1 World Championship, as a large crowd gathered to watch these 900 horsepower machines in action. Furthest from the camera, the 2 championship rivals both made good starts to the race. But it was the blue machine of Victory 1 that seemed to be nosing ahead on the run down towards the 1st mark. Sea Dubai up to 3rd place after the Wellmax boat had slipped back, deaccelerating into the 1st turn, and although Victory were ahead, the black boat of Fazza still had the inside line and was able to keep tight to the buoy to regain the lead. Using GPS tracking, here's the virtual eye replay of the start. Victory making that excellent initial getaway to pull 16 metres clear of Fazza, only for the reigning champions to charge back past them into the turn. Behind Team Sea Dubai ran wide through the turn and allowed the red Wellmax boat to regain 3rd position, and the Norwegians then carried that momentum out of the turn to accelerate past Victory, moving them up to 2nd place. The championship leaders then set about extending their race lead on a rare rainy day here in Dubai. In fact, conditions out on the water were somewhat choppy, and out at sea it was becoming more and more challenging to drive at full speed. And then events took an unforeseen and tragic turn, as the race was brought to a halt following a severe crash for Jean-Marc and Mohamed, which ended with the Victory 1 boat capsized and the rescue teams out on the scene. Back on shore, the supporters watched and waited in hope. But then the worst news possible was confirmed.
Mohamed Al and Jean-Marc Sanchez, when they reached our Russian hospital, the doctor announced officially of the death.
As everyone involved in powerboat racing tried to come to terms with the tragic loss of life, competitors, team members and friends gathered at Mina Siahi to honour their lost friends. Our heartfelt condolences go out to the family and friends of these 2 great competitors, these 2 great champions of the sport. An incredibly sad and moving end then to the season, and to what up until that point had been a wonderful celebration of international water sports. The loss of Mohamed and Jean-Marc is a painful one, but more than most, they understood the true spirit of competition. From everybody at the Sea Dubai Water Sports Festival, thanks for watching, take care.